All right, so for this live code walkthrough, we're going to be looking at a BMI calculator. Now, what is BMI? That stands for Body Mass Index. Okay, it is used to compare a person's weight compared to their height. Now, there are some inaccuracies with this because it is looking at weight. It is not looking at fat. It's not looking at muscle. It's just looking at weight. So a person who may be heavily musculature, have a higher amount of muscle, will still end up looking like they have not a very good BMI compared to someone who does not. Or let's say a person who is very inactive and has a higher amount of body fat, but doesn't weigh a lot, would still show as normal range in here, but could still actually be unhealthy. So there is a number of things that BMI can indicate that you might end up having. If you're overweight, you have a very high amount of fat, you could end up leading to high blood pressure, diabetes, stroke, osteoporosis, sleep apnea, those type of things. If you're underweight, you could lead to other things like malnutrition, osteoporosis, so that's like the density of your bones is weak, decrease in your immune system, complications for surgery, different issues. Okay, so we're going to build this calculator, and what is it based off? Because most of them, they have something that you can calculate like feet in inches or meters, and then weight in pounds or in kilograms. So that is based off of an equation. And let's look at the equation. So I got a couple sites up. Normally this is actually done using imperial units or metric units, where we were doing kilograms and the height is in meters. Okay, but we're going to be using US units. So we got pounds and we got inches. Okay, that would make it easiest. Now, what I would think would be helpful is we want to actually be able to take input. So we're going to use DOM elements, and we want to create an input and then capture that input to build our equation. So we can ask them a question and they can type their response. Okay, so we could have height in inches, we could have their weight in pounds, and then we can build the equation. We could even mention various things that they need to be considering. Okay, so that's what we're going to build in here real quick. Looking at the create input, this is the format of what we need to have, and the dot value will be what we are capturing. Okay, so let's do height. Now, height is a reserved keyword. I can't just leave it as height, so I'm going to just call it height INP for input. Let's do another one for weight INP for input. So that's unique because height would hold this value in P5JS. So height INP equals create input weight INP equal the create input. Okay, so now both of those, if I ran that, they're both right there. Okay, I probably also want some type of instructions and maybe some results. So my instructions might be please enter your height in inches and your weight in pounds, and I will calculate your BMI. All right, so that's going to be my instructions. Let's go ahead and display that. So we're going to go to our draw, and we're going to display that somewhere at the top of the screen. We probably want to have some type of text size. So let's do maybe 18. And then text will display those instructions, and we want to display them towards the top, but if we want it to bleed to another lines, then we need to give it a width too. So let's say we want it to start at, let's say 20, 20 from the top of the screen and have a length of 360. Let's go ahead and run this. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now, if we want to position these, we're probably going to need to put height and weight right next to them to make it very clear. We could also do this. So that shows grayed out. Now it will error out though if I try to enter with that text in there. So we could set that up with as soon as they click on the box that it would empty the value. So maybe we'll do that. That will be a better way. So height in inches and weight in pounds. Okay, now let's position those so they're much higher up. Let's do height inp dot position, and we're going to position that so it's in line with the text, but it's below it. So let's do maybe 100, and I'm just hitting Control Enter to easily run my code again. We're going to do the same thing. Weight, man, it's helpful if I spell weight correctly. Weight inp dot position is 20, and let's do 200. That's spaced out too much. There we go. Okay, now if I want to make it so that when we are pressing that I'm running some function, I'm going to need to build the function. Now usually I build functions after the setup and the draw. Custom functions, they go down here that I'm building myself. So I'm going to create one that we'll call it clear text. And all I'm going to do is, as soon as they click on, so if I link them to just one function, I could have this clear out both of them, but then I may not have a reference of what it is. So I might do clear height text as one of them, and then clear weight text as the other. Okay, and inside of those, I basically want to pull what that value is. So height input dot value, and I can set a value. So I could set it as an empty set of quotes. I'm going to do the same thing with the weight input dot value, and I'm going to set an empty set of quotes. And so now I need to link those up. So when we are clicking on here, I want to clear out that text to make it so it's ready to be filled in. So here, after we set a position, or before, as long as it's after we created the input, we can say height input dot mouse pressed, and then we can call that function. Okay, so we're going to call it clear height text, and it needs to be written exactly like it, clear height text, including case. And so let's do that for the weight one. Clear weight text. Let's see if that works. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so now that opens up for us to be able to put some value. Okay. We probably also want a button to do some type of calculation. That would be after we actually pressed stuff. So we want to create a button so that I can click it and it will do something. Okay. So that's where we want to do that calculation. We want to have those values and do that calculation. So let's go up here and let's do calc BMI. That's what the name of my function is going to be. Calc BMI is the create button, and I want on here for it to say calculate BMI. Now I can give this a position, which I'm going to. I want it to be located to the right of the weight in pounds, maybe like right here. So a little bit past this. So that means I can use these values as long as I'm doing it after the weight input. I can use the X and the width of those to better position it. So I could say I want it to be taking the weight input dot X plus the weight input dot width plus maybe I want an extra 50 away from it. And then I want the exact same height position or the Y position as that weight input. So weight input dot Y. Let's see. That actually doesn't look too bad. Okay, so that would be what I want to calculate. Now that I have that, calc BMI dot mouse press. When we press that, we're going to calculate. So calculate BMI. That's going to be the name of the function. It's a custom function. Let's build that out. Function calculate BMI. All right, so in this, we have the height, we have the weight. So let's use a local variable so we can say let height is equal to the height input dot value. And then we can say the weight as the weight input dot value. Now we could do our calculation. So let's look here. Weight divided by height squared times 703. Okay, so we want to be able to, when we run this, results, this is what we're going to calculate. Results are going to be weight divided by, and I want to use pow. Okay, example what this does. This is an exponential expression. Okay, so if we want to go 3 to the 5th power, we'd say the base, and then this would be what we are raising it to. So this is the number, and then this is the exponent. Okay, height is squared. So pow, and then we're going to put our height. So height and 2. Okay, so that whole calculation is going to be multiplied by 703. Okay, so now that is going to be my results, and if I'm just displaying it, it's just going to give a value. But maybe I want to put it in my results info. So let's create something that's default. So we're going to say results. So our results, before we start it, we're going to give it a value of nothing. And then our results info, we're going to give it a value of nothing. That way, we can display down here what that stuff is, and then display it. So like this, maybe I want to display a little bit bigger, and we want to display that results, and that's going to be, I want to do another one. Go back to this, we'll do results info. Let's do 250. Okay, so that's what we want to display. Now it's not going to show anything because we haven't done anything. All right, so in here we have the results, Now we're also going to do our results info. We're going to build that out as some type of text string. So this is going to be, the results info is going to be different based off of what our values are. So we could be underweight, healthy weight, or let's just combine these two and say just overweight. So we're going to use a couple if statements. So we're going to say if so this is going to give these values right here. Okay. So if results is, let's say, less than 18.5, then what are we doing? Well, our results info is going to say you are classified as underweight. Let's maybe put some of the health issues. Risk associated with being underweight is, and then we'll put some of these. Just the first few. Okay, so that would be if my result is underweight. Now we want to do if it's not underweight. So it would be the same thing. If results, now this is going to be combined because when we're looking here, these are the values. So we have, we're going from, let's just use one because they're all a little bit different. They're saying less than 18.5. Ooh, yeah, so that means that this would include 18.4 on down. And then here would we have 18.4 on down. So 18.5 to 24.9. So if results are greater than or equal to 18.5 and results are less than or equal to 24.9, if that is true, then we are, our results info is that you are classified as healthy. There are no risks associated with your classification. Okay, so there we go. We got that one. That's our results. Now, these are both not firing at the same time. So this, if this is false, then we would come here. So this wouldn't be just an if, it would be an else if. Okay? And if it's not that we're underweight, and if we are not healthy, then we are doing the only other option, which would be an else statement. Okay? So that's what an if statement is. It's a conditional, allows us to break code. And in this case, we are asking a question and needs to resolve to a true or false answer. So if the results that I'm computing here is less than 18.5, this is going to be my response. Otherwise, if the results are this and this, that's what using this is. This is a compound conditional or a complex conditional. We need both of these conditions to be true at the same time. Then this is what we're displaying. Otherwise, we have the only other option, which we said was overweight. Now remember, this is going off of weight versus height. It's not going off of fat or muscle versus height. So let's put a couple of the, you're classified as overweight. There are, what did we write? Risks associated with overweight is, actually it probably should be R, shouldn't it? R, high blood pressure, LDL, type 2, heart disease, stroke. All of those are good things for us to be mindful of. Okay, so there is our calculator. Now let's test it out. So I am 68 inches. I weigh 210 pounds. And we are running off the page, but we do have it calculating. It is giving us a BMI. This is running off the page. Maybe we should just try to bump down our result information. So let's maybe put it down to 14. Do the same thing, 68, 210, calculate BMI. Okay, that's closer. So now we could probably just change some of these values. So let's do 230. And we're just going to keep going down until we get it to where it's fitting with what we want. There we go. That's pretty cool. Okay, now let's do it with the other values to make sure that we can get something that's, you know, good. So let's say 68, and I'm going to bump my weight down. Let's do 120. Classified as underweight. Okay, let's do that again. I'm just clicking here. So let's say 150. Healthy. Probably should fix that. Healthy. There we go. All right, let's calculate again. 150. Oops, it's not going to redo until I rerun. So 68, 150. There we go. Okay, so that is the BMI calculator. That's what we've done together. Play around with this. Make it your own. Good luck. Have fun.